Welcome to Mindflow Radio.
We are creating conscious community by sharing mindful manifesting skills and transcendental music.
We are all in this
Together.
Rise up and heal. Rise up and heal together. Rise up and heal. Rise up and heal each other. Oh, 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 rise up and love. Rise up and love each other. Rise up and love. Rise up and love each other. Oh, 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 rise up and share. Rise up and share together. Rise up and share. Rise up and share together. Oh, 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 oh. Rise up and pray. Rise up and pray together. Rise up and play. Rise up and play together. Oh, 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 Welcome to Mindflow Radio.
Mindflow Radio.
He's Monte.
She's Jai Lynn.
And we have Erin with us today.
Hi, Erin.
It's
Hello.
that time of month.
Yeah. Not following the moon, just the Tao.
Yep. Where are we at with it?
So this week we're talking about the fourth verse from the Tao Te Ching. To remind you, we've been going over the Tao Te Ching verse by verse once a month, doing a different verse. Mm-hmm. And this verse is mostly about infinity. And I'll read it. The Tao is empty but inexhaustible, bottomless, the ancestor of it all. Within it, the sharp edges become smooth, the twisted knots loosen, the sun is softened by a cloud, the dust settles into place. It is hidden but always present. I do not know who gave birth to it. It seems to be the common ancestor of all, the father of all things. So that's the fourth verse.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so infinity and the Tao.
Right. And if the Tao is the source,
but never ending, never beginning.
Yeah, to me.
That's very much. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, to me, it kind of just gets down to the point that the Tao is energy.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Inexhaustible, bottomless, empty, and it's all there is, essentially. And
it's the life force, right?
Yeah.
That which animates.
Yeah, and the idea is if we can become more in harmony with this life force, that life becomes much easier.
That's
Probably
a good
more
way to
productive too, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It does make it easier because then it's less, there's a little less debating going on in your mind once you accept that this could be the life force within you, which is in every cell.
Right. The energy that's in all of it.
In me, in you.
Yeah.
In you.
Well, in
Like,
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets down to back to like the first chapter of just like the Tao being something that can't really be talked about fully.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Can't
Like
be named.
transcends language,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
Mm-hmm.
It really does.
so that's what we're dealing with. So we can only like point to the direction of the Tao or the energy that's everywhere, perhaps, but we can't really fully explain it with words.
Mm-hmm. But actions, right? So we can't explain it with words, but we can connect ourselves to that energy source.
Yeah.
And then live through that. We were talking with friends yesterday and talking about all of the different words to describe this source.
Yeah.
And how we, of course, get stuck on the words. And it's whether it's the source or God or Tao or the universe or
Divine.
Energy, the divine.
Ja.
Yeah.
Allah.
It if we connect to it, then we can evolve and we can create. And it's infinite and always there.
It's always there for us. All we have to do is open to it. There's the Christian mystic Thomas Merton. What did he say?
Oh, that the God energy is always like raining down on us. And if we're able to quiet our minds, it's actually able to enter into our beings. You know, so it's this force that's always coming at us, only we can reject it through just arrogance, I guess. Through thinking we know the truth and thinking the truth is just words, and we're able to like block that force. Or we can just allow it.
Well, I think some people or often you're open to it, but you're so distracted. It's that busy mind again. And like you had talked about, it's always coming at us.
Yeah.
But we're distracted by the other things. The things that are not omnipresent, the things that are negative, really. The
anything that's not now.
Yeah, and anything that's not really enriching your life, but taking the energy away from your life.
That kind of reminds me of my desire to eat more mindfully and how my equinox intention is to be more present and to try to be present while I'm eating. Because a lot of times I'll be eating and like stuffing it in my mouth, and then I bite my lip and I'm bleeding, and I'm just like, oh, again?
I still do that too.
It's
frustrating.
Too.
I feel like the biting of the lip is like, hello, where are you?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I was in the future. Sorry.
Yeah.
You were in the future too, or the past.
Yeah.
You were ruminating about the past things you did throughout the day and the things you still have to do.
Yep.
And then you bite your lip.
Well, and you think of it when we're eating, that's a great time to be in harmony with the Tao.
Right. Bless your food.
Which is beyond
I wish
words.
I did that.
So it's just, being present with the experience.
Really seeing the miracle of it. Like, especially in this day and age, it's so convenient. We go to the grocery store, we buy our food, and it's there. Like in the past, it was like you toiled for it. You like,
that was your work.
Nurtured that seed. You, you know, and now we take it for granted. And then I think blessing food was probably easier back when it was such a precious
it wasn't
commodity.
abundant.
And now it's just something you buy at the grocery store.
Well, it's more than that. It's like a lot of times it's unhealthy. So there's like this mixed feeling around it, you know, and a lot of us use eating as a coping mechanism because our minds are so agitated.
Yeah.
And while we eat, the mind calms down a little bit, you know.
Does it though?
I think so.
I think it shifts the energy to your digestive system.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do think it calms
I
the
think
mind
just
too.
the like if you're eating a bunch of Cheetos, you some of the time at least you're focusing on the taste of the Cheeto, which is essentially
so
beyond
I miss Cheetos.
beyond analysis. It's beyond words.
Right.
Right. I mean, we can describe it, but we can't fully describe it.
Right.
So when we're eating, it naturally puts us in that transcendental place beyond words, at least for moments. I think that's why a lot of us get so addicted to it, because it's one of those techniques we use to transcend the analytical chattering mind, which is like haunting the F out of us the rest of the time, you know?
Seriously.
And it's nuts. I mean, and nowadays it's probably worse than ever. I mean, but on the other hand, there are a lot of people out there doing meditation, doing yoga, doing Tai Chi, counterbalancing all the crazy chattering that goes on in a lot of our minds. You know,
that brings up something that we talked about yesterday, and how meditation and these different forms of being open to the Tao, really, are some of them have been studied and have shown to reduce crime and to reduce emergency room visits, and you know, it's like, isn't that like a great indicator of actually being and sharing that connection with the whole community by focusing on being present in meditation and prayer and these different ways of being in the Tao. I do want to say that there's a line that really sticks out for me, and within it, the sharp edges become smooth, the twisted knots loosen. And I just love that, because isn't that the analytical mind right there? It's like twisted and crazy knots.
Yeah, and the Tao helps us unravel, helps our minds unravel a bit. If we can get to that point of not analyzing everything constantly. You know, if the compulsive overthinking is an epidemic in our culture. I think that's what Eckhart Tolle has said too. And I don't know if we can hook into the Tao, and this does allow our minds to unravel a bit, and the sharpness goes away. Because it's the agitated mind that gets sharp and angry and irritated,
is
fearful.
Sharp the dual mind? I mean, would you imagine sharp edges as duality, right? The sharp edges
I can see that.
It's either this or that.
Yeah.
And there's no gray.
Right.
There's only two choices,
like
where this is saying there's infinite possibilities.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've worked with that a few times recently with friends or with myself, where I'm stuck, where I'm like, I have to make a choice. I can choose. And somebody's walking you through it, and what are your options? Well, I've got two options. You always come back to two options, and really, you've got infinite options. And if you stop right there and you step back and you give it time and space, you come up with oodles of more options for that decision. And I think that's kind of saying, if you're connected to the Tao, you can take away those sharp edges and the duality of it.
Yeah, the duality makes me think of just the judgmental mind.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's good. That's bad. That's good.
When we still do it. I still do it to myself. I'm scrolling on social media, or I'm feeling, unworthy, or whatever emotions I'm having that I don't like. I judge them on myself. Erin, why do you do that? You should know better, but really and then maybe it's just all the twisted knots, right? And there's the twisted knots that we can't really avoid. Unless we're connected to the Tao or to the source. But then we have to be actualized.
Well, I mean, if we're in a place of metacognition, to begin with, of just like being the neutral observer of our own thoughts. Because I do the same thing. If I'm doing something that I'm not happy about, I'll shame myself. How could you do that?
I do that.
You're looking at Facebook still. How could you, I'll go into the shame place rather than the metacognition place is just noticing, but from a mindful perspective, and be like, oh, you're doing this. Oh, it's an old habit. What can we do about it? So there's not that shame energy. There's not that judgment energy.
Yeah.
And I think I do that. I think I don't shame myself often, but just know that, oh, Erin, this isn't really what you want to do with your time.
Yeah.
But it's not forever. I often tell myself it's not forever. And in all of my emotions, I probably should do that when I'm feeling elated too, because I want that to stay forever, but I should be aware that that's not forever either.
Totally.
Right. It's just part of it.
I'm so curious though what you meant by actualize.
Oh, like to remain in the Tao eternally, to be completely actualized being. I think of it as the beings, and you're either being or doing. And if you're being, you're actualized, you're there, right? Which is very unusual on Earth. And it seems really even truly possible. I don't know if human beings can ever actually be there.
Well, I think we can definitely touch on that place, or be there some of the time. Perhaps being fully enlightened is being there all the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met anybody who's enlightened.
No.
But just one point I wanted to make about the self-judgment too. It's like when we learn to reduce our own self-judgment, then we judge others less, which is a big deal in our culture, and vice versa. If I'm, and when I look at people who are like super judgmental and pointing fingers at people and name calling and all that, to me, it's a sign that they do the same thing to themselves. So it's like, ooh, I think I'm understanding something.
And that's where the self-work comes. I mean, that's why it always boils down to you have to start with yourself. And once you realize that you judge yourself in harsh ways that are not true, not real, then you can see that in your neighbors. You can see where they are because you've been there. You know that. You visit that. All of those pieces, and that allows them to just be a fellow, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're all at different levels. But the one thing that I think is really interesting, and this is kind of like something we touched on last week, is that maturity piece. And so what you're saying is like you get to a different level and then you can see behind you. You can see the other levels behind you, but you can't see the level in front of you. You can't like know what you're striving for other than it's that internal self-work of I'm I'm working on myself and I know I'm going somewhere.
You can kind of see, I feel like I see it in others. I mean, there are, and I probably see it in negative ways where I feel envious or I wish that I was there, but I'm still here. But I think that's okay to see it's how you attract others that you want to attract.
Well, I love the idea of just like striving to just be more connected with the Tao. I mean, that kind of like simplifies it.
Yeah, it does.
You know, and then from that connection with the Tao, hopefully you do achieve other, successes in your life, whatever those are,
But how do you connect with the Tao?
It's fine working with your own mind.
Presence.
And your body. I mean, Tai Chi was designed as a movement art that moves in harmony with the Tao. It's really interesting, one of the quotes from from the Tao Te Ching is circles inside of circles leads to all understanding. And if you look at Tai Chi, the movement, it's all circles inside of circles. And, I mean, that's like one example.
It's infinite.
But Tai Chi's
no beginning, no end.
Here we are.
That's awesome.
The eternal present.
Yeah. And
bum, 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 bum,
what a beautiful thing. And it sounds so simple and it's so difficult, like being present.
It's difficult, but it's not, and
I mean,
it's
some
really
people
difficult
are
if
probably
we're not,
good at it.
What?
Some people are probably good at it, but I personally, it's like, it takes effort.
It takes time, practice, and effort, which we all are doing, right? And
I think it takes a willingness to walk our own path. I mean, at least in our culture, because in our society, we're kind of trained to be judgmental. We're trained to think too much. We're trained to indulge in too much screen time and all that, which is counter connecting with the Tao. So we need a certain amount of willpower and just being the rebel, essentially, to really get there in this world, I believe.
Yeah.
Unless we're just naturally there. I mean, which I have to work on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm starting a book that goes into radical self-love and beyond radical acceptance but truly loving yourself as being the avenue probably to connect with the Tao or to connect with the source and eliminating, and it goes through the same things, just in a different voice, a different path. And just like you'd said, accepting your path, that everything you've done, are doing, and are going to do are your path. It's really out of your control. You get to make choices along the way.
Yeah.
But your path is you.
But that's our freedom of choice, though. We can choose various paths. I mean, I could choose to rob a bank if I want, and then my path would shift big time.
Right.
I mean, I do have that freedom of choice.
Yeah.
I have the freedom to totally ruin my own karma.
Yeah.
Essentially, or make it better.
Absolutely.
To me, that's what it kind of, what directs me is how do I create better karma for myself? How do I help others? Because it comes back to me, and people say, oh, you're so giving or whatever, but it's really selfish, because I know that if I help others, it comes back to me.
Right.
And it's like, oh, that's cool.
I think a point you said that I want to bring up again is said the past, the present, and the future. And I think that that's something that we get hung up on individually a lot of the time is the past. And how can that be our path, and how can we accept it? Even though it really is, again, a simple thing, but it's difficult because how can you accept all the things that other people did to you? But the part that is possible is to accept your responses and to accept that you are here now and those things formed you. And when we can get to that acceptance, that's when we can move forward with clarity and like, I am on my path.
Well, that acceptance too might lead to forgiveness. You know, and
forgiveness of the self first, right?
Yeah, forgiveness for all the stupid things I've done, and also forgiveness for all the stupid things people have done to me. You know, talk about radical love. I mean, Jesus would, he was like a radical. As far love your enemy. That's a radical idea. Just imagine how our world would be different if we actually believed in that.
Yeah,
you know.
And I think some of us do. I mean, I try. I've got a few people that still trigger me, but for the most part, I just accept everybody right where they are. I've realized that you can't, we all realize and we're told that you can't change people, right?
Yeah.
And I think I can talk about this, but there are people that I may work with that for 30 years have not changed the way they approach what they do, which maybe isn't in the best interest of the entire team. When does it become time for us to just accept everything they do as being perfect? Because that's what they have to give.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And that really helped me to shift and see things in a different way when working with, your family or your team and whatever it is, just allowing it.
I definitely, I don't have that kind of a history with our IMI team, but I can definitely see how it just helps so much to accept people for who they are. And then you can accept their gifts better without worrying about anything else. So true.
So does that include all politicians?
Kind of.
Absolutely.
Do we accept them where they're at?
I mean, we don't have to agree or love it or believe in it or vote for them.
Yeah.
But we just have to accept that that's their purpose and their role right now. And
it's their truth.
And it's their truth.
Whatever. And that might not be our truth, but
there's
no reason to hate people
no reason to hate
over
them.
that. That's just counterproductive. Because then, you're talking about the Tao and the energy of the Tao. If we're creating all this hatred, and then our hatred goes into that matrix of human energy, and then if we're haters, we're on the side of the war machine. Even if we hate the war machine, it's ironic, but we're still giving it juice.
Well, not only do we hate those politicians, we then hate those who align with that politician. And it just creates this huge amount of energy towards hate for people we don't even know. We've never even met them.
Yeah, right.
When people tell me bad things about people who I maybe kind of want to like, that may be famous, or I kind of think some of the stuff they've done is good, I say, until I've sat down and had coffee with them, I don't have a judgment. I don't know them, and why would I put my energy there?
I think that's so awesome, because that is standing up against judgment. And that's something that any religion, I think, at least the religion I was brought up in, we have no right to judge. And yet we're told to judge all the time.
Yeah, we are.
Our school systems are based on judgment. Right. I mean, many of our systems most of our public systems are based on judgment.
What do you mean?
Like kids in school, they get graded. They get behavior marks. They get there are so many tools that are based on good or bad.
Well, I mean, being discerning is a way to counter judgment, and I mean, you could argue that getting a grade in school is just a discerning reflection of how you did in a class too.
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't have that judgmental. Well, maybe it might.
It does.
But
think about the kids.
Shame and it just the way that our society has created it. And I believe in working hard and and finding your passions and putting your energy into them for whatever purpose, whether that's a grade to achieve some marker. But there's just so much tied shame and reward, one or the other. You know, you come home with all A's. These children, they get rewarded. They come home with a B, they get shamed. They come home with F's, and sometimes nobody cares. You know, there's a whole spectrum. You know?
Yeah. Well, hopefully someday soon we can get beyond this competitive model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of like the
I'm
school.
so looking
and the
forward to
Creates it in
that.
such a young age.
Oh yeah, and then we're competing, and then it's our team against their team, and then I'm part of the blue team or I'm part of the red team, and then let's hate the other team. Yeah,
Right. And what if the child with C's is thriving, absolutely thriving? I mean, shouldn't that be a beautiful thing?
Yeah. And that goes so deep, because then it's like family structure and family history and trauma history. And I mean, it just goes so deep, really. And I think what I hear you saying is that if we could create new systems that can support healthy family structures and healthy families that can embrace their child for what they're doing really well and
A natural
nurture
evolution
them
of the
in
child.
ways.
Yeah.
we need to evolve the educational system. That's
Which is
something that might come
happening.
out of all this craziness that's going
it's
on.
happening.
You know,
I think it will.
Well, it's sort of happening. Hopefully, it can continue.
The
to
crumbling part's happening.
Sort of.
That has to.
Or they're
part of it.
pivoting too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
they're pivoting
it's
to
more
the
of a
virtual
pivot.
model.
Yeah, but
And-
they're not pivoting away from the competition at all.
And they're
at
not
this
pivoting
point.
from the structure.
No,
The structure's
no,
the same.
They're holding
Yeah.
tight.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and hopefully that can.
I bet
shift.
in 5 years we're going to talk about this at the end of the Tao Te Ching and be like, wow,
Right.
things are so different now.
It will be so cool to look back. That's what I love about time. Is
Yeah.
It gives you that opportunity to look back and see all the good.
Yeah.
It's
And there's
good to
such
make peace.
accelerated growth and accelerated evolution. I am so happy to be alive right now
Mm-hmm.
and,
All right.
and to know that I am here and now
Mm-hmm.
evolving. My cells are evolving
Mm-hmm.
at this time to deal with the present situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that excites me to no end.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited about it too. I say that often at work. I'll try to reframe myself and anyone else that what an opportunity. Right?
Absolutely.
Maybe it's very stressful and there's so much uncertainty, but what an opportunity, especially, and I don't know how to tweak this for the older generation, but for my generation, I just keep plugging that it's just our great opportunity to evolve and to be part of a creation of something that is sustainable.
Yeah, what's going to come out of all this? You know, but for some people, they're just so caught in suffering and like have their backs against the wall. And
There's
for
a
them, it's
lot of
hard to-
suffering going on, and it is hard to
Yeah,
have metacognition when you're in the actual depths of suffering. So, sending
Well,
a lot of love to all those people.
yeah, for sure.
And so we should wrap around this verse a little bit and conclude our monthly Tao speak. It is hidden, but always present. It is hidden.
You can't see it. You
always
can't
present.
name it.
Yeah.
You can't feel it. It's just
maybe
the
you
energy.
can.
That
I think
you can feel the energy.
Energy
Yeah.
is reality.
Yeah.
And just this idea of it is in all of creation. It is in all of creation.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah.
Tao force, this creative, original source is in all creation.
I know, and we're in this unique position, being humans. You know, where we're creative machines. That's what we do is create stuff.
Made in the
and-
image of, right?
Yeah, in the image of the creator. So we are just super effective creators, and perhaps now if we can just become a bit more in harmony with the Tao, the things we create will reflect that
Yeah. And trusting
into a
that
better
that
world.
time.
You know,
Right. And
That
we're balls of energy.
Yeah.
And we get to choose whether we want to focus that energy on love or hate.
freedom of choice.
And of course, there are a million things in between those two
Yeah.
polars, but
Yeah.
You get to choose where you put your energy.
Yeah. It's true.
And I just love those experiments that they've done on rice and water, where they'll have like a jar of rice in water, same rice, same water, 2 jars, 2 rooms. One you say thank you, I love you, and the other one you say I hate you, you suck, and to see what happens. Like the thank you, I love you rice generally like ferments in a nice way and it smells good. And the one that you say, I hate you, you suck, like turns black, stinks, stagnant, it's like life.
Part of science is that experiments have to be
reproducible.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
so we should
reproducible.
We should reproduce that experiment is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And report back. We'll see what kind of...
Maybe that would be a little fun thing to do for the month. Yeah. But I guess the reason why I say that is if we're a bundle of energy and our cells are an image of that, it is so important to err on the side of possibility and say thank you, I love you to your cells, to your body, to your mind, to your brain, to your digestive system.
Let that be part of our internal dialogue.
Yeah, and it's good to accept everyone. It's good to have compassion for our enemies and all that. Yep. But to align ourselves, to surround ourselves with people who also support that health, that mind of love and gratitude. Because now is this time of who's your team. And I know that sounds competitive, but it's like we accept all.
Yeah, who's your tribe?
But who's your tribe and how do you create together? What do you create together?
Yeah, what are we going to do together? What are we going to create? What kind of culture are we creating?
Yeah.
Right at this moment, through our present moment. Energetic reality.
Absolutely.
Love your neighbors.
It's kind of exciting. Yeah, right.
It is. It's
love
so
your enemies.
Exciting. Love your neighbors, love your enemies, love yourself.
Well, and for me, it's like pretty hard to love my enemies if I have any, but I can be compassionate towards
I can be
enemies.
Compassionate.
I can respect everyone. I have that ability.
I can see where they are. Oftentimes I can just see where they are, and that gives me the opportunity to accept where they are.
Yeah. And if we can see
accepting is easier probably than loving.
I mean, we all have this spark of the Tao within us, and we're all amazing that way. All of us.
Really beautiful.
And we're all confused to some extent.
Yeah.
Ebbs and flows.
Got amnesia when we got born here. Finding our way back all the time.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, my friends. I'm so glad to be gathered here with you both. And I'm glad for all of you listening out there. We're so grateful to be in communion of mind and energy with you all out there. And any final thoughts?
Love yourself.
Energy is reality.
All right. Be well. Well, my mindful friends, we have a special treat for you today. It's my birthday, and Monte wrote me a song the year we met several years ago. He wrote this song after I told him a little bit about my life story, and he would play this song for me every time he saw me. And I come over and learn some Tai Chi with him, and he'd play the song, and I'd dance around the room and think about how this was it really did mirror my life story, and it's a very beautiful song that I've asked him to play for our meditation today. And as you hear the song, if it moves you, dance around your house. and feel the challenge that we all share of the ups and downs of life, the times when we're scared and feel like there's no way out, and then all of a sudden something happens and we remember our joy. And if you can hear that in this song, you can celebrate with me. Celebrate life, celebrate community, celebrate the success of finding your path and your purpose and that infinite beyond words in music. Blessings. Take a few deep breaths there, realizing that you are a miracle. We are each a miracle. We've made it this far. And together, we can create so much love and joy. We are the ones we've been waiting for. And what a beautiful time to be here on this planet with such great potential as the canvas gets a whitewash and we get to draw and paint a new picture beyond words. So be mindful of your energy as you paint, as you dream, as you manifest. It's a very, very potent time we are in. And we have the choice to steer our minds. Take care of your loved ones and send some compassion to those you don't understand. Sending them healing, healthy vibes. May we build a new world filled with health and collaboration, taking care of each other in new ways, finding new avenues to serve one another, and therefore finding our abundance of purpose, meaning, and resources. May we be blessed. So we have another song for you. The song coming up is the Gayatri. And the Gayatri is a beautiful Sanskrit prayer to open oneself to the divine light and be the lighthouse in the dark, to be the way shower, to be the thought leader. The Gayatri is one of the oldest chants there is. And I'll talk it out right now. You can always look it up for the words, and I'll have it in the description as well. Om Bhuva Svaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dimahi Dio Yona Prachodayat. There are a couple different versions, but that's the one that I do. And they're usually just a little bit different by enunciation. Same roots. If you know it, join in. If you don't know it, you can feel it as another meditation. This chant brings you into the light of truth, the ultimate truth, the truth that we can't see or understand or comprehend, the truth beyond us, the truth of creation, the truth of purpose. Have a beautiful week. Have a beautiful month. May we harvest and prepare ourselves for winter. Blessings. Tat Savitur Varenyam like dancing, now's a good time. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavito Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Thank you for your presence. You've been listening to Mindflow Radio. You can support Mindflow Radio on Patreon and get exclusive content access. Big gratitude to Lotus Head for their mindful music, keeping us in the flow. A shout out to our sponsors, Integrated Mindfulness Institute. Online, visit www.imi.earth. For ideas, questions, or comments, contact us by email, connect@imi.earth. Many blessings on our health and peaceful evolution. We are all in this together.